Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz interview series with veteran Faroe Islands-based jazz bassist and composer Arnold Ludvig. We get into the 2025 release of his quintet album Live at Maggies 18 and his life in the music world. For this new project, he won the 2026 Faroese Music Award for Special Release of the Year album. It's a documentation of music that Arnold has written at various times and places in his life. These songs were written in Reykjavik, Montreal, Copenhagen, and other places around the world between 1993 and 2014. The music is a journey through the Celtic folklore, modern Nordic jazz, and African-American jazz inspired by blues music. He's been a bassist since 1980 and a composer since 1991. We get into a stellar journey through the world of music and jazz. Enjoy this interview. Wonderful to meet you. Thank you for taking a minute out for the Neon Jazz today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure.
So where are you located on the planet?
Yeah, that would be 62 degrees north, roughly zero, like Greenwich, north of Scotland, between Iceland and Norway, in the Faroe Islands.
Wonderful.
Specifically in the town of Skálavik.
It sounds like it's beautiful up there.
Sure, it is. It's 18 islands in an archipelago, so you have a varying nature depending on if you're north or south. We're kind of in the middle.
Okay, well, it sounds a lot more exotic than Kansas City, Missouri, the home of Charlie Parker. So we'll we'll go with it. Again, it's great to meet you. Before we get into Live at Maggie's in 18, I want to begin with something that I don't think we've processed and talked about enough, probably, and that's 6 years ago. This pandemic was changing our lives, especially musicians. How did you make it through that era, and how has it influenced the way that you create music and live today?
Yeah, frankly, I had already a little home studio going, and I had just gotten into Ableton. So I just dove into that and made, I don't know, over 100 different ideas with electronic music, off of which I've released 7 tracks or something on a digital album last year. So, pretty much because it was like the soul was dying from not being able to play live. You know, it was really really depressing that way.
Yeah. Well, and I would imagine having a live album come out now, is there any corollary between the long absence of live music and releasing this album that was done in 18?
I think probably the project just kind of went on a shelf for a while because we knew we couldn't perform anywhere, and we're located in 2 different countries. Like I know those guys. I knew them from 1990 to 93 when I was in a music school in Reykjavik. That's where I met all these guys. Then I lived in Canada for 10 years, from 93 to 2003, when me and my wife Anna, who's from there, moved back to the Faroe Islands.
Why don't you tell them who you played with in Montreal?
In Montreal?
Yeah, with your jazz trio at Biddles.
Yeah, I had a steady gig in Montreal from 1999 to 2003, playing 4 nights a week at Biddles with my trio backing up Geraldine Hunt, vocalist. So then after actually a further 7 years on top of those 3 in the Faroe Islands, we lived in Copenhagen from 2007 to 14.
Yeah.
Where we founded our own band based on Anna's lyrics, where she's the vocalist.
Called Monkey Rat.
Called Monkey Rat, yeah.
Yeah.
And
then you formed your sextet, your Arnold Ludvig sextet.
Yeah, that was actually during those years in Denmark. I formed the Arnold Ludvig Sextet, and we released 2 albums and toured the Faroes a bit as well as Denmark over a period of time.
Yeah, And if you could mention.
I think up until 2017, when I went back to Iceland, took a master's in music at their Arts University of Iceland from 2017 to 19. And that's when I formed this quintet, just to have something to work with while I was there, while I was going to school there anyway, which turned out to be at that time, like, so I formed it in 2017. We did our first couple of gigs there in November, December 17. We did a few more in the winter. And then in the summer of 2018, we did these 5 concerts in the Faroe Islands. Like, we knew each other so well. Yeah, over 3 days, we did 5 concerts. And that was the 5th one, the second one that day. And we were just feeling like, you know what, let's just get this over with. This is just too much, you know. It's like, so we just let everything go. And I think that's why we connected so well that night, you know. We all felt it. During and afterwards, hey, this was kind of nice, you know. So it was filmed and multi-track recorded, and it's been there on YouTube since 2018. And then people have been asking me, where can I buy this? Where it's not released. You should, you know. So then I just did it last year because it was the logical thing to do. Don't know why. You know, it's probably I would have done it sooner if Corona just kind of put some things on the shelf for a while.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it certainly does. No. And I love it when these answers kind of knock down other questions and dominoes. So I'm curious, what are you ultimately hoping the listener gets from this live album? I mean, live albums are a very unique experience. And I think not only because of what we lived through with the pandemic, but it's just such a different experience to be in a room live and then to capture it and give it to people. So ultimately, what do you want the listener to get from this album?
Yeah, I think quite simply just to have been swept along on the ride, so to speak, that journey that we felt between the musicians, the flow of communication that was really, really spontaneous the whole time. The way the drummer is just kind of painting the landscape of, you know, with such a rich palette of sounds and rhythms and polyrhythms. Also, how well Einar and Kjartan, the drummer and the piano player, know each other, because we had been I hadn't seen them for like 25 years, since the early 90s, but we reconnected really quickly. Like, we had one rehearsal and then we just did gigs. By the second or third gig, it was like, okay, yeah, and then it's just been on an upward trajectory since. But now it's been quite a while since I've been forming and getting into a bunch of jazz bands in Torshavn, believe it or not, even if it's a town of 15, but well, now it's more like 25,000 people.
Wow.
It's a very vibrant music scene, a lot of musicians and young musicians that are getting into studying jazz now also. So
that's wonderful. Yeah. So take me back to your roots. Where were you born and raised, and was music always going to be your destiny?
Yeah, born and raised in Torshavn, the Faroe Islands, born in 1968, and then just I joined a band when I was 11 with one classmate and some guys from school there. Not that it was a school band; it was a neighborhood band. We would rehearse in any of our parents' basements, where we were allowed for a while and then move around.
And you should mention that you're all self-taught.
Yeah. Obviously, we were just picking it up, self-taught.
Yeah, there was no music schools back then.
Yeah, there was nothing called music school. There was no TV. no local TV. So there was a lot of time to, what to do at the time. And so we just rehearsed long hours, like in our teens, which really paid off because we were all excelling on our instruments.
And the name of the band is Plum.
Yeah, Plum is the name of that band, which is still active. It's booked for a couple of summer concerts. The latest release was in 2019, actually.
So you've been playing together for many, many years.
Yeah, playing together since 1980 or so. 79, 80.
So
that was the beginning. I played with those guys, like, by the time I'm 22, so this is 10, 11 years. And that's when I go to Iceland Music School. And those 3 years, and so that's sort of like, Then it branched out, obviously. I played with a bunch of musicians in Reykjavik when I was there, and then even more in those 10 years in Montreal, played with a long list of singers, like freelancing around.
Yeah.
And then in a couple of steady bands.
A lot of funk bands.
Yeah. Stuff like that.
So speaking of live albums, having a new live album out, I'm curious, take me back to your beginnings. What was the first live show that you saw that blew you away, that made you think, I want to get up there and do that one day?
Let me think, because it began with my brothers having this. They owned this vinyl album with Danish rock band from the 70s, album from 1976. Name of the band Gasoline, but they were never internationally famous, but they were basically the the Rolling Stones or something of Denmark, of that era. So that was like it with the photos on the vinyl, on the sleeves. You could sort of imagine that you were there while listening to the vinyls. So that's how it began. There were no TVs in the Faroe Islands, so it was not about video and television media at all. It was all about the music. So it's like, that's, I thought to myself, that's what I want to do. So at that point, I've been 8. So it's like, oh yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. So it was clear in my mind.
Yeah. So who were influences? What musicians or bands were really instrumental in you finding your very unique voice in the world of music?
Yeah, I mean, I can obviously say, based on some of the, let's say, compliments after concerts, it happens that someone comes up and says, "You sound a lot like Jacko right there." I'm like, well, I mean, it's an undeniable influence. And then there is so many others, like Marcus Miller, and I mean, not least upright players like Ron Carter and Gary Peacock, Palle Danielsson from that Jared group with Jan Garbarek. And a bunch more, like the list goes on. Even local Icelandic, Faroese, Danish musicians, because it's also other musicians that sort of, just like as instrumentalists, that influence me. The way Jared plays, or sort of what he's doing harmonically, and also Zavinul from Weatherport. So like, it's whether it's acoustic or electric. There's so many, and even going further back to the 80s, when it was more like progressive rock, like Genesis, Rush, sort of that led the way into Weatherport, sort of discovering jazz that way, and then much later looking way further back, all the way through Ray Brown, Paul Chambers, and with Miles, and yeah, with all the singers, whatever,
Yeah.
just learning about the whole history of it and appreciating the how it moves forward. Uh, Also, yeah, before the electric bass, and then with the arrival of electric instruments, that whole is endlessly interesting because it's still going on.
Yeah, for sure. So what do you like the best about being a professional musician? What wakes you up every day to create this music, to be a part of this community and put out albums and shows? What do you look forward to the most?
Yeah, I mean, it's always going to be in the creative aspect of it, and in the performing aspect of it, as it being like people on a stage or in a studio communicating a language, bringing it up to another level. I don't know. uh, that's the part that obviously live for, because that became really clear during Corona, when it had been so long, so many months without playing, how it hurt. Felt like crying, and did so at times, missing it, like.
Yeah. Yeah. So let me ask you this. If you
Mm.
could get into a time machine and go back in time and see one jazz show anywhere at any time, musician or band, where are you going? Who would you love to have seen with your own eyes?
Really good question. Yeah, I mean, because it'd be so many. It would be Weather Report, including Jacko.
Yeah.
It would be the Jared Trio. It would even be the Jared Group with Garbarak. Maybe in Japan, like the Personal Mountains album is phenomenal in my mind. Like,
Yeah.
and those albums have influenced me, I believe, compositionally, and also if you think about the instrumentation on the Live at Maggies. Uh, it, it was always going to be saxophone or saxophones at some point. So that's materialized that way by knowing these people from Iceland. Because the sextet in Denmark, it's also saxophone, but also flute and electric guitar on top of bass drums, piano.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. I'm, primarily I interview musicians from America. And one of my questions is, you know, as you probably have seen in the news, we're in the middle of a clown show here, and it's creating a lot of tension. And I think music is a really big outlet for not only musicians on the stage, but everybody in the crowd to kind of have a level of escape from everything that's happening. I'm curious, on the outside looking in, what is your perception of what you're taking in from what's happening in America that might be influencing the way that you're processing the world today or you're approaching music?
Well, I think just really positively, and with the right mindset, because like you said in the beginning, the keyword there is clown show. So it's like, well, at least we don't have to pay a ticket to see it, but we can also just turn it off or ignore it. Well, I mean, we're going to know that it's there anyway because it's in discussion everywhere.
Yeah.
Uh, but sometimes I jokingly say that, if these I don't know, top leaders, whatever you call it, there, if they just hear my music, probably be world peace by now.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a
Yes.
nice thought, and who's to say it wouldn't be true?
Right. No, I agree. I think it's the antidote. I think the arts have always come in to save humanity at different, I know, at varying levels and waves of things in this country and just around the world. I mean, I'm always just blown away by musicians and music that come from what I would consider rather remote areas of the planet, or places very far away from America, like Iceland. And I just think it's always encouraging that the wield of influence of this art form has had globally, and that it still gets produced and evolves and thrives, is always such a wonderful thing.
And I would like to add that there's more sheep than people in the Faroe Islands. There's 77,000 sheep and 55,000 people.
You're hearing the voice of Anna Aquino, my wife.
I love it. I've heard her back there. It's wonderful. I always love when there's extra sound. You know, I just looked up the islands, and it looks like the place that Hobbits and the Lord of the Rings was filmed.
Yeah, actually, that's what a lot of people recognize, and it was a location that they might have used.
Yeah, James Bond.
Because it looks like New Zealand. It's just a smaller scale. Like, I think New Zealand is 100 times also taller. It's just like a magnified version. Because the Faroe Islands are really, really small. Until you're in a little boat between two of them, then they are colossal.
Well, just the way you described it, it sounded magical, and I'm looking at pictures, and I'm like, my God, it's unbelievable. It's a movie set. So let me ask you this. At the end of the day, everyone has a perception of you. Family, friends, fans, everyone on the bandstand, everyone in a business sense. But you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Yeah. That's a really good question, because I was a sideman, so to speak, or a band member for probably a couple of decades before I started to have my own band for the purpose of performing and recording my own compositions. I'm 58 now. I was 45 when I released the first one, and the third one last year. So it's like I'm a late bloomer when in that aspect. In the beginning, I was scared of being a leader, but I got a handle on it. I think it's pretty much always play with friends with whom I get along, and there's always room for their their contribution of musicality to bring to the thing. So that kind of approach is really nice, because just communicate by playing, pretty easy. Yeah.
So the new album, Live at Maggies 18, is out. If anybody wants to get a copy, they want to get any of the previous work like Iceland or anything else, catch you live, any of the good business, where should they go?
Yeah, it's Tutl Records, TUTL Records, and yeah, they have a website, isn't it?
Yes.
Isn't just tutl.com?
Yeah.
TUTL.com, and that's the record label, and there you can find those 3 albums by searching.
And it's on all the platforms, Apple and Spotify and Deezer and all of them.
And the first 2 albums exist on CD as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
The third one, the quintet one, is only digital so far, but the plan is to release LP. And now people are saying that CDs are coming back, so why not?
Yeah.
So that still has to happen.
Even tapes, which I can't figure out. They just don't have the shelf life of other media. But yeah, everything, any kind of media that can come out just proves the prowess of music and helps the musicians a little bit more. So it's great. I will put all of these links in the show notes. It's so great to connect. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your story, and best of luck with the release and everything else.
And he has his own website, arnoldludvig.com.
Yes, and I will put that. I have that on here. I will put that in the show notes, so I will make sure to shuttle everybody in the right direction. I'll have a good compass up there. So, so again, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you so much, Joe.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to another Neon Jazz interview, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest players and minds in Faroe Islands, Reykjavik, Montreal, Copenhagen, Kansas City, and spots all over the world, giving fans all that jazz. And thanks to Arnold for his time and story. If you want to hear more Neon Jazz interviews, you can find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Subscribe to us at YouTube, and for everything Neon Jazz, go to theneonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
Neon Jazz.